Oh, yes, it's ladies' night, and the feeling's right. Oh, yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Guido Goes Off. This is a special episode. This is dedicated to the PWI Female 50. As a lot of people know, uh, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, actually reported earlier in the year, released their PWI 500, which ranks the 500 best wrestlers. And normally, that is the terrain exclusively for male superstars. However, women have been in there a time or two. Um, but now, for a few years, they have been doing a list exclusively of the 50 best female wrestlers in the world. Um, it's the grading period is, I believe, was from July of 2015 to June of 2016. So, in that time period, these ladies were ranked, of course, using the same criteria as the PWI 500. So it's activity, win-loss record, notable titles held, strength of opponents, importance to the company, and I think there's one other thing, but I'm not going to. Now, for the sake of time, I could go over the whole list, and we could be here forever. But I'm just going to stick to the top 10. I am willing to note that number 50 this year, somehow, even though I think she only wrestled like 2 matches, it was Eva Marie. Eva Marie was number 50 this year. Um, I'm going to say there were some surprises, but the top 10 really, it's pretty much cut and dry. It's kind of lays how it should. So I'm going to start with number 10, Sienna, the former Allison Kay. Um, as many people know, she joined the TNA roster earlier this year, also and defeated Gail Kim to become the TNA Knockouts champion. Title she held for quite a few months until she was beaten by Gail Kim at Bound for Glory? I think it was Bound for Glory. Yeah. So, but Bound for Glory is after the grading period. So I think there's about 3 months there where she was the Knockouts champion in the grading period. So, and there's also she's been quite successful on the indie circuit as well. And so it makes sense to have her in the top 10. Number 9, Sexy Star. The one of the wildly popular ladies of Lucha Underground. In fact, Ivelisse almost cracked the top 10. She was number 11 this year. But Sexy Star did have a great year, especially in Lucha Underground. In last season, season 3, she had that big feud with Mariposa, and then gained the win in the promotion's first ever televised No Mas match, very similar to an I Quit match. And that was for one of the Aztec medallions. She then went on to Ultima Lucha Tres and won the Gift of the Gods Championship. I believe it was last episode, however, she did lose it to Johnny Mundo, but again, that's after the grading period. So, she had those are the 2 notable big wins that I know of for Sexy Star, and those are pretty big wins. So that's what puts her at number 9. Number 8, Gail Kim. Again, TNA Knockout inducted into the TNA's Hall of Fame this year. She spent a lot of time this year in the grading period chasing the title. She did hold it for a while. She was beaten, of course, I mentioned, by Sienna. Earlier this year. and then she was also beaten by someone later on in the list. But she was in the hunt for a good portion of the year. For the if she wasn't holding the TNA Knockouts title, she was after it. So all in all, a pretty good year. But again, the loss of that title does hurt her, and so that's why she's she's still in the top 10, but at number 8. Number 7, Natalya. Last year's grading period, of course, Natalya kind of dropped off the map because she, was being the doting wife while Tyson Kidd was recovering from neck surgery. But this year she has come back and has been more of a force that she has in recent years, including also for a good majority of the early summer feuding with Charlotte for the Women's Championship. So, I mean, and while she didn't win it, like I said, she had some big victories there, and was really a lot more active than, like I said, not only just after Kidd's neck injury, but she really hasn't been utilized as much. I mean, she was utilized a lot more then, and still kind of is with the brand split. It's really, for her draft to SmackDown, it's really helped her out. But the WWE draft, kind of at the tail end of the grading period. So you have, so while it has helped, again, it doesn't really apply to this year's PWI Female 50. And so that's why you have Natalya at number 7. Number 6, Jade. Jade, member of the Dollhouse in TNA at the beginning of the grading period. She was able to get the Knockouts title from Gail Kim. She did hold it for a significant time, I believe 4 months. But don't quote me on that. But like I said, she was with the help of the Dollhouse for a little while, and then the Dollhouse kind of split up, and so she kind of went on her own. She's still a viable threat. But like I said, I was earlier in the period, and she really hasn't been as active since. I don't know why TNA doesn't book more women's matches, but again, right now TNA is still trying to stay afloat right now. So, and that puts Jade at that top spot, or at that spot at number 6. Number 5, Bayley. Bayley was the NXT Women's Champion for a good portion of the grading period. She, of course, she defended it against the likes of Alexa Bliss and her great matches. So on this grading period, you're also going to see the match where she won it at NXT Brooklyn. That match with Sasha Banks. The rematch for the NXT Women's title at TakeOver Respect. And then, of course, also her defending it against Nia Jax. She did really great up until, as we all know, March, TakeOver Dallas, where she lost the title to Asuka. And then she was knocked out for a while due to an injury. But yeah, so she did have a very good year. And like I said, most of the time she was the the NXT Women's Champion. So that's why Bayley ranks in the middle of the top 10 at number 5. Number 4, Becky Lynch. As we all know, I like me some Becky. Becky was pretty much right up there. I know from January to March, she was the thorn in Charlotte's side, trying to win the women's championship at the time, the Divas Championship, before it became the women's title, and of course that huge triple threat match at WrestleMania for what was now going to be the women's championship. I was saying, and then also, like I said, she was very active, very, she was in there. But again, I'd say her best year in WWE. Could possibly stay where she's at next year, given that she's still holding the SmackDown Women's Championship. But like I said, that it was after the grading period, so that's why she ranks at number 4. Number 3, Asuka. This really is, I would say it's kind of a surprise, given where the list goes later. Asuka's undefeated. Asuka since early April has been the NXT Knockouts champion and has the NXT Women's Champion. Asuka's been on a tear. So much so that now, and now she's almost out of competition. I mean, they're having to outsource her opponent for TakeOver Toronto this year. For TakeOver Toronto in Mickie James. I mean, they're trying to get Trish Stratus, but they ended up having to get Mickie James. Again, Asuka's still undefeated in NXT. And pretty much has a death grip right now on the Women's Championship. And I don't see anything changing anytime soon as far as that's concerned. And she beat up the best. She beat Nia Jax. She beat Bayley. Her TakeOver Brooklyn 2, the rematch, that's not going to be counted. But I think the one thing that hurts is that NXT does not have the schedule that WWE does. And so that's why I think Asuka, that's the only detriment to Asuka on this list. And like I said, it's kind of questionable. Okay, so number 2, Sasha Banks. This is where I think it's questionable, where I think Asuka should be higher. And that's simply because, okay, yes, during the grading period was that big match at WrestleMania. And I think, and just at the tail end of that grading period was when she beat Charlotte on Raw to become the WWE Women's Champion. But and like I said, and she moves merch. She's very popular. However, she was out a lot this year. I think within the past calendar year, she has had 5 injuries that have sidelined her for a month or more. And so it makes me wonder there why she's up this high. But again, I don't run the list. This is PWI's doing. Honestly, I think Sasha should be number 3 on this list. But again, her popularity and her popular importance to the company, and winning the women's title, but that was at the tail end of the period, is weighs very heavily. So again, Sasha Banks at number 2, and number 1 should come really as no surprise this year. She has been the most dominant woman in professional wrestling, Charlotte. Now again, this isn't a popularity contest, but it goes by these criteria. And if you go by these criteria, Charlotte is a slam dunk at number 1. For the better portion of the grading period, Charlotte has held either the Divas or the Women's Championship. You're talking from September. You're talking from September 2015 to when she lost it on the first Raw after the draft. Like I said, Charlotte has been dominant. She's she's won a few lost a few matches here or there, but she's been undefeated at pay-per-views ever since. She has not lost at a pay-per-view and has wrestled at every one since Night of Champions last year. So, and again, she's you look at all the media that is writing articles about her. As much as I want to say it's not warranted. I mean, especially the Forbes article where it says that she's the greatest female wrestler of all time. Especially for someone who's only been in the business for 4 or 5 years. But Charlotte has grown into her role, and of course, her dominance, holding the top prize for women in the top company in the world, as much as a lot of people hate saying that. That weighs very heavily in this list, and so that's why, like I said, it was a slam dunk. Pretty much like Nikki Bella was last year. It's very hard, given the criteria, it's hard to argue with a 301-day title reign. And, Charlotte had reigned for quite a while on this list. Quite a while, and therefore, as I said, slam dunk on this for number 1. So, quick recap. Number 10, Sienna. Number 9, Sexy Star. Number 8, Gail Kim. Number 7, Natalia. Number 6, Jade. Number 5, Bayley. Number 4, Becky Lynch. Number 3, Asuka. Number 2, Sasha Banks. And number 1, Charlotte. I know the digital copy of this is probably going to come out, I think, next month. The physical copy is part of their February issue. Valentine's Day. Little hearts. We're going to do the female 50. So, again, you can... I am on my Twitter going to put up the entire list. And like I said, there's some surprising names on there. Some people who haven't been on in a while. Some people are a lot higher up than they used to be. And, some that should be knocked down. But, yeah, so keep an eye out on my Twitter at r_man_Guido. And you'll see that come up. Well, that is going to do it for this episode. Now this list actually is going to help me with my next show. It's probably going to drop tomorrow. That's all the hint I'm going to give you. So, if you want to watch it, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. It'll come right to you. Also, don't forget to like this episode and share it with your friends, especially those friends who like lady wrestlers, which I'm pretty sure is all of you, because women's wrestling is awesome. And don't forget, if you have anything to say, as I said, my Twitter handle's up there. It's also my Instagram, and also feel free to drop a line in the comments section. Again, I am the Guido, and I think we're done here.